I want to talk about what's, I suppose, made me a little bit more relaxed in front of a camera, or if I'm interviewing, being interviewed, or if I'm speaking. And the cliche thing is practice makes perfect. It is absolutely true. So the reason I'm going into this is a couple of friends are doing loads of events at the moment, and a couple of friends, not complimenting me on my speaking, but they're saying, God, I really find it challenging. And so I wanted to share, I suppose, the few things that I found really helpful. The first thing is actually this video exercise. So, a lot of people would say, oh, when you talk, just practice makes perfect, so keep doing loads of talks. But people might not get access to loads of talks. So what was the best tip that could be shared, that could be done on one's own? It's getting a camera out. It can be a fancy camera, it can be literally your phone, and thinking, okay, I'm going to answer a question. So you might write 5 questions out. You hit record and answer the questions. And obviously pause it afterwards, stop it afterwards and look at them back. I've said it a load of times in these videos, but for me, what was amazing in doing these videos at the start was how different what I was saying was to what I thought I was saying. And literally the whole biggest learning curve was over the first kind of 50 or so videos, aligning what I thought I was saying with what I was actually saying. That is absolutely massive and absolutely invaluable. And it's something that you can do at home on your own with your phone. But that's hugely strengthening, because I always think when things are out of alignment, there's a shake, there's a nervousness that kicks in, it knocks your confidence. But when things are in alignment, there's a strength that comes from that. So almost unconsciously, if what we're saying doesn't match up with what we're thinking we're saying, that's going to knock your confidence. You might not be conscious of it, but it will have that effect. When you are conscious of it, I actually think it's not a thing that it'll knock your confidence all the more. I actually think you'll become conscious of it and go, oh, this is interesting. And you'll instinctively start working on it. And the journey, working on bringing what you think you're saying into what you actually are saying, will build up your confidence and will make you all the stronger when it comes to speaking on stage or being interviewed or doing anything like that. Even just general social skills, I think it will make you all the more confident. So that's the first thing I wanted to share. The second thing is actually, if you have a few friends around you, is to ask for their help. And I got this tip from a guy, Sean Connolly. He was doing one of our University of Life talks, and he was talking about mental resilience. And he does this as a training exercise with people that he's training to speak or to do interviews. And I thought it was fantastic. He said, Jamie, get somebody to interview you and get 1 or 2 friends to talk in the background while you're being interviewed, to perhaps poke at you a little bit, say something, try and distract you. And whilst all that's going on, try and maintain the interview. He said, do that, record it, and do that a few times. And obviously, being interviewed is challenging. Being interviewed with other people talking around you is all the more challenging. Being interviewed with people trying to distract you is all the more challenging. But if you get used to that, it changes your norm, or it changes your ability. Sorry, I'm not making that point right as well as I should. If you challenge your norm, your ability to relax in certain circumstances will grow. So for example, like if your norm is being interviewed one-on-one in a really quiet setting, that's your norm. If your norm is being interviewed with loads of people chatting around and some people calling your name, being interviewed quietly will become really, really easy because you're used to a higher level of stress. And so his work, or his advice, was have people challenge your stress capacity, so that actually, if you're being interviewed one-on-one, that becomes really relaxing because you're used to being challenged by people around you and being in a really noisy environment. That was absolutely fantastic. And then after that, practice makes perfect in terms of pushing yourself out there to do loads and loads of talks. I remember talking with Pat Divley, a really, really strong, good wellness leader here in Ireland, and he talked about being a bit nervous on stage and not representing himself as best as he should. And so what he did is he literally rang up anyone and said, look, I will do 100 talks for free. And he literally drove himself all over the country doing 100 talks for free. And by the end of that, he was rock solid on stage. And And so practice does make perfect, but obviously only so many people can get themselves the opportunities to speak. So those two tips beforehand: one, working with yourself in terms of camera, and then two, building your stress capacity by challenging yourself in the environment. Those are really, really helpful. And the end result, I think, from doing that is that you're much more relaxed. You get to actually do yourself justice when you're being interviewed or when you're given the opportunity to speak on stage. But not just then, also when you're with friends, you're much more relaxed. You're able to communicate much, much better. Or when you're with a potential loved one, you're able to do yourself justice. And so it actually has working in this space has much greater value over and above, doing a good speech or anything like that. It actually stands to you socially tremendously. So I hope that's of value to you. And if you're watching this and there's any other kind of things that you've found really, really useful, will you share them with me? Because I'm really interested in the space. Thank you.